on the street is we're live.
Word on the street.
Word on the street.
Word on the street is that we're live. In living color.
Live in living color.
That will be for a different episode.
That'll be fun.
I'm gonna need you to count me down to 3, 2, 1, go. When we get to it.
Give me time. Okay, I'm gonna check the Facebook.
I don't know why I'm so nervous.
I'm nervous, dude.
I feel like I'm auditioning myself.
Nothing has changed. This is just our normal stream, but I'm like nervous about it.
Well,
you know why I'm nervous? It's because
because we put time into
this. Usually when you go live, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
When we go live, we just say, hey, internet, we're going to throw together some sloppy musical theater.
Literally.
And you're going to have to enjoy it. Or don't enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. That looks good. Test. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're in business.
Okay. So ground rules. We are keeping this PG, so we're gonna try our best not to show any profanity.
Makes sense.
Because
we need a safe word. I'm gonna move this a little down.
Addams.
We're gonna say
The whole podcast, we're gonna be like, wait, why do you keep saying the safe word?
Are you good? Is that all right?
What's up? Yeah, it looks good.
Right. When you are,
I'll do my best cold read of this intro.
Yeah.
Hey, all Wildcats.
Jesus Christ. I hate it already.
This is our life. This is how we live.
Pull up my Word documents. You feel?
Mm-hmm.
So you're good with like handling the intro and stuff?
Yeah, I'll read this little blip that I wrote up.
I like the blip.
A little blip, and then that's gonna flow to some intro music that we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with that. I figured it'd be cool if we could do some like sound effects. That sounds like we're calling each other back on the phone.
That's good.
That could be good.
Huh. And let's record a whole phone conversation, hour long, for each intro. I'm kidding.
No,
right.
and then it'd be like an intro within an intro. It'd be like, hey, man, I got this audition coming up for the show. What do I do?
Oh, okay, that could be good.
I don't know, man. There's not a lot of good resources out there. What do you think we should find? Oh, hey, did you hear this new podcast, though? Talks about this stuff.
I like the idea.
Oh, I'm going to go listen to them. Yeah.
I don't like the cadence with that. It's a little too corny, but I like the idea we can make it work.
We'll figure something out. We'll pencil it in for later, and we'll table it up. All right, let me know when you want me to actually start.
If anyone
It might take a couple times. So.
Yeah, you're good. If anyone's already joined us live, I don't have chat open.
Yes.
I won't be reading chat for the next hour or so. I'll pull it up after, but I don't plan on looking at chat. So if anyone's here, check. Let me do one more.
Yes, but if if anyone is here, or we'll maybe reiterate in the middle of the podcast, if there are people here, we could take a little break and add it too, because we can always cut the pieces together, segments. But
yeah, I'm forgetting that we can edit stuff.
We can edit. So if we want to take like a 2-second break in between and say hey to the viewers, and if no viewers, then don't worry about it. We don't expect anyone to listen to this anyways.
For real.
We could say something about them leaving questions, and at the end we're going to go through everything and answer any questions, and this may or may not be included into the podcast at the end. I feel like if it's names of people, we'll have to, if we do include it, we'll have to do some sort of usernames for them, because we don't want to be doxing anyone out here.
Facebook doesn't have usernames though.
Yes, so we'll have to come up with nicknames for them that like.
If we do address that at the end, we'll just do syllables, abbreviations.
JC.
Like
JC says yes.
Says
yeah, just something that doesn't give away people's identities, because we don't want
just
anyone having issues on the internet.
Yeah,
we don't need it throwing out there. The only names we're throwing out our own. So if we get doxxed, oh well.
Hey, don't say that. You're in my apartment.
Don't look up our IP address.
Shit. Oh, all right. F it.
We start?
3, 2, 1. Action.
Hello.
Wait, let's go back. I said action.
We're already done.
On 3 or after 3?
3 or after 3. Action, go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, theater lovers alike, and welcome to the first ever episode of the new podcast, Callbacks, Curtain Call Coaching.
I'm going to stop you. I'm sorry.
Oh. God, I thought I started off so hot.
Really good. I'm sorry.
You're good.
All right.
Got me down.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, theater lovers, and welcome to the first ever podcast of the new musical. Let's start that over. I knew one of those was going to come out bad. I was so in the zone on the last one.
I'm sorry I ruined it.
You're good. It's because I messed up a word in the beginning, and then everything just gets thrown off after that.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, theater lovers alike, and welcome to the first ever episode of the new podcast, Callbacks, Curtain Call Coaching, Musical Edition. If you have somehow found your way to this podcast, it means that you are as much of a theater nerd as the two of us. Welcome. In today's episode, we are going to set up the foundation of what this podcast is about and what you should expect in episodes to come, as well as a deep dive analysis of the musical, The Addams Family.
Ooh.
We hope you enjoy episode 1 of Callbacks Curtain Call Coaching. Enjoy.
All right.
I think that was good.
I think that was perfect.
I think that was good. I got through it. I read it.
That was really good. Well written.
I am a radio voice.
Should I give the synopsis off the bat? Or should we?
Let's do a bit about ourselves.
Yeah, let's do it.
Start talking. So
I'm excited.
You know, this is kind of crazy. I don't think I expected us to actually get to the point where we're at right now.
I mean, the idea of making a podcast, everyone thinks about it, at least once in their life.
I feel like COVID has synonymously made podcasts super popular.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone's stuck in their house. They figured out how to work their camera. They got a microphone. All the prices of everything electronic went up. Thank you for that.
It's basically why I started streaming, was because of, I had nothing else to do during COVID. And
people realized they had a lot to talk about.
It's true. We have lots of opinions to share.
Yes.
Good opinions.
Yes. So let's start off. Who are we?
Yeah. Well, my name is Shane Saniza. 24 years old. I work at a healthcare IT company.
My social security number is.
Social security is. But I've done musicals my whole life, pretty much. Actually, later than most people would think. My first musical I was ever in was my freshman year of high school. I did Spamalot, which was an amazing time. And since then, I've been nonstop doing musicals. It's hard for me to go a long period of time without being in a show because I love it so much.
Yeah, and for those of you unaware, freshman year of high school was last year for Shane.
Oh, shut up.
So.
But it was, yeah. My favorite part of it is just being part of a community and just making a product together. And when you make a product with a large group of people, you get so close with them. And that connection is my favorite part of theater. So that's why I still do it as much as I can to this day.
I would definitely say the family that you get from theater people, it doesn't matter what type of background you come from, what type of work you do, what you do outside of theater in your free time. Everyone has the same sort of love for the arts.
It's pretty cool.
And it's just it's already have something in common with someone. It's the
true.
easiest way to start talking to someone is by having something, in common. And so I think theater is, I made majority of my friends from theater, so I would say, who am I? I am Jean Valjean. No, that's a different episode. Today, I am Corbin Schrader. Tomorrow, I might be someone else, but I am 28 years old. I have also been doing theater for a majority of my life. First half, not really my choice. I was kind of voluntold that I would be doing theater to get myself out there, but boy, am I glad I did.
You've been doing it longer than me, though.
I have been.
You started.
I started probably in 3rd grade doing some shows, so I have been doing theater a long time. But I didn't get seriously into it until I was in college.
Right, yeah.
So I had always done theater, high school, did a lot of music, all the choir, show choir, things like that. Then that catapulted me into just doing the musicals because all my friends were doing it. It wasn't something that I was really passionate about. I
just happened
upon it, you know. And then I got to college, and in college, I just, out of a whim, decided to audition for a show, got in, had a great time with it. And then from there on, I caught the bug, man. I just could not stop after that and realized how fun it is just spending hours upon hours with people that are both caring and super talented, but that's really enough about us. So we have a little bit of musical background. We just wanted to preface that we're not experts, but we do have a little bit of experience.
By no means experts, but we love it a lot.
And that plays into our next thought. What is the show about? Why are we here? What was the big idea that we decided to start a whole podcast about?
It was Corbin's idea, but
this was a whole ordeal. This was actually started in Elf, funny enough.
Yeah.
I believe Elf into Wizard of Oz, we had thought podcast, and then and then I believe it was Wizard of Oz that we really were like, we could do this. Yes. And then we started polling people and being like, would you be interested in listening to a podcast that was about XYZ? And then finally we came in, you know what? What's the one thing in theater that people don't talk enough about? The thing that always seems to give people trouble, the thing that a majority of people who are in theater can never seem to get over this hump. And that is what, Shane?
Auditions.
Audition
songs. The amount of times someone has come to me saying, I don't know what I'm going to sing at my audition. Countless times. And if you look up a show, like if you're auditioning for a show, you look up the show, space audition songs in Google, you'll find lots of different sources, Reddit, some random blog.
I may have used some of those today, but
definitely.
There are some good sources, but there's not a lot that you really can feel comfortable about going into an audition.
It's hard to piece them together.
Because there's a certain puzzle that you have to figure out when you're going into an audition. Is the song I'm picking, do you sound good singing it? I feel like that's the number one thing that you should really focus on when picking out an audition piece is, do you sound good singing it?
Yeah.
If it's out of your range, like if I'm going into audition and I decide I want to audition for Jean Valjean and I sing some super high tenor piece and I just sound horrible on it, am I going to get the part? Probably not.
Yeah, that's more important than is the song objectively good for the character you're auditioning for?
100%. I say you should like the song because you're going to want to practice it more than if you like singing it.
Yeah.
And does the song fit well in your voice type? And by voice type, for those of you who may not know, we're referring to the standard bass, baritone, tenor, alto, mezzo, soprano. There's the whole list. If you don't know what those means, look it up on the internet. We're not going to go too much into it. But each of the songs that we kind of pick tend to sit in one of those ranges based on the needs of the character.
Yeah, and there's so much nuance in that. There's so much nuance, but for the purposes of this podcast and talking about audition songs, it's easy to just categorize people in certain voice parts.
So by no means take everything that we say with a grain of salt when it comes to our opinions on picking out audition pieces, because we're just picking ones that we really feel could play well for showcasing a character, but we don't know anyone's voice type. We don't know what they can do, what they're capable of.
I don't know your voice type, listener.
Yes, exactly. So just roll with the ideas of how we came up with it, and hopefully it can help you feel more comfortable. That's the whole reason why we're doing this podcast.
If anything else, it's a guide.
Yes. Yes, so. We want people to feel comfortable auditioning, because you should be able to get through the hard part of doing a musical and then enjoy all of the bearings that come from being in it.
And auditioning is understandably the scariest part of the whole musical process. So if you feel super scared to go into an audition, that's okay. Pretty much everyone else is as well. So we just want to provide some extra tools to help you out in that process.
Yes. And in later episodes, we are going to do some more deep dive on audition preps, cuts, a little bit more of the
technical
the technical mumbo jumbo that you come out with for doing an audition. But for now, we are just gonna stick to doing deep dives into shows that a lot of community theaters might be doing. You might have an audition coming up for this next show.
Indeed.
What are we going to be talking about today, Shane?
The Addams Family.
The Addams Family.
Fan favorite, I think.
I have seen so many community theaters in high schools and colleges
How many?
putting on productions. Well, my college that I went to is
yes.
putting on a production this April.
Yes.
So that's one. I just saw my friends in one in October. And I know a bunch of community theaters in the future are going to be doing more and more of this.
I feel like Addams Family is in the ether. When you think of musical theater, community theater, musicals, Addams Family always is in the mix for sure.
Yeah, you take something that you love from, comic strips
TV
to then
show.
TV show, and it's even blown up way recently with the new TV show that came out on Netflix. Wednesday.
Which I haven't seen. I should
I
watch that.
also have not. I've only seen the dancing sequence.
I feel like
the thing that blew up on the internet, the dancing sequence. So today's episode is the Addams Family. So Shane, can you give us a little bit about what the Addams Family is about?
Yeah, the Addams Family is a musical based on Charles Addams' iconic cartoon characters, premiering on Broadway in 2010. It features a humorous and macabre story about the Addams family hosting a dinner for their daughter Wednesday's normal boyfriend's family, leading to some comedic chaos. Book by Marshall Brickman and Rick Elise, and music by Andrew Lippa of Wild Party and Big Fish fame as well.
Funny enough you say that, Shane. I may have some of those similar guys coming up later in the podcast.
Smart man. The musical captures the quirky charm of the original cartoons, offering catchy songs and visually striking set designs. I think when it first came out on Broadway, it had some mixed reviews, but it's become one of the most popular productions licensed worldwide.
And Shane, how do you know about where were you when it first came out on Broadway?
I was in New York. I was born and raised in New York, and I can't say for certain, but Addams Family was one of the first shows I ever saw. I was very young, so I don't remember anything about it, which is why in preparation for this, we watched a production that currently exists on YouTube.
A great production, by the way.
Shout out to Frankston Arts Centre in Australia.
Oh, that was Australia.
It's an Australian production. It took me some digging to find it.
I was going to say, they didn't leave a good description on there.
There was no description, but it was fantastic.
It was great.
It was really cool.
It was really good. Australian.
Isn't that cool?
Interesting.
I would never have guessed. The accents were good.
So the show premiered April 8th, 2010, the first preview on Broadway, and it ran for a total of 722 performances.
Damn.
Closed on December 31st, 2011.
Sad day.
Sad day. That's probably about the time some of their actors left, I'm guessing.
I'm sure. I think, I'm not saying this for a fact, but it's one of those shows that once the original actors, were swapped out, it started to, die out a little bit.
Yeah,
which is fairly common.
There's certain shows that really need that star power
for sure.
in order to sell those tickets. So
Great Comet is a perfect example.
Great Comet.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to break down what we're going to do. Each of us picked out some of the characters. Mm-hmm. We're mostly going to be focusing on the principal, supporting, and some featured characters in the show. So most of the Addams family and some of the people they interact with. Mm-hmm. Ensemble stuff, I would say for the most part, if you're looking for just being in the show, some of these songs and preparation stuff that we're going to be talking about just for even any of these featured characters will definitely work well towards
for sure.
Just auditioning for the show. If you're more that speed,
sure.
I will say for both of us, I mean, we both can attest. I have played everything from ensemble up until a lead role recently. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I know everything when it comes to all the facets of being in a show.
But for this purposes, for this podcast, we'll focus on those lead characters. For Addams Family, we have 9 characters we'll talk through. We'll go through each, give some backstory, talk about their character arcs, etc., and then go through some possible audition songs that we've picked that we think are a good fit for that character.
Yeah, and then some other other facets of why we decided to do some of the songs, and all of the descriptions and everything that we're going to be talking about. We will have some links.
Yes.
Somewhere. I don't know where yet. They will be somewhere. So we will give shout outs to the YouTube channels and the Spotifys of the world to give you the resources that you need. And then obviously, if you don't know where to find music, I would say that the biggest place that I usually find my music is Music Notes.
Music Notes, yeah. Usually.
Music Notes is a great resource for finding sheet music.
I think it's the largest sheet music collection / website that exists. So
yeah,
you'll find pretty much anything you need.
So if you find a song you like on the internet, search it up in Music Notes. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna find the song you're looking for, and also you can transpose it into a key that fits your voice,
which we'll talk about in a future episode.
Which we'll talk about later.
I think is okay to do.
I do too.
Yes.
I think is what I have talked about in voice lessons and other things is that it's okay to transpose a piece for an audition. The only time you don't want to transpose is for when you're doing the actual show.
Yes.
So if you get called back for a role and you're going to the audition to sing a specific thing from the show, that you cannot transpose because that's the way it's written and that's the way that they're going to do it. Because the orchestra can't transpose their entire music just to fit the one
There's
song.
some cases I saw on Broadway where they have changed it. I remember there's a Fierro once. I think whoever Idina Menzel was actually dating at the time, he has like a lower voice, so they transposed half of what's their duet in Wicked?
As long as you're mine.
So rare cases, but I wouldn't recommend banking on that at all.
Yeah, Broadway has a little bit more money that they can throw around for that. Community theaters, most of the time, the orchestra is going to show up about 5 days before you need them. They're not going to have seen the music at all, and then they're just going to go.
Exactly.
So you got to deal with what you got.
That's a good point. Shall we start?
So yeah, let's start. Let's start bottom up. I think bottom up is a good idea.
Curveball at me.
Curveball.
Okay.
Start from the bottom up. So we're gonna start. I'll start it off because we want to save the bigger parts for the end. We want people to stick around. We don't want people to join in for 20 seconds and be like, "Oh, my part I wanted is gone. It's done." We don't need to listen to the rest of it.
Unless you really want to be the bottom character, then you can listen to this and then you can leave.
Yeah. But I'm gonna make you wait.
Yep.
All right, I'll start it off with the grandma.
Oh, the grandma.
The grandma role is a very funny role. It is quirky. It is, it's ageless of a role, by the way, because you can be any age and play this role. You could be really old. You could be really young. Makeup does wonders for people.
It does.
But anyways, so the grandma, originally played by Jackie Hoffman, funny enough.
Yes, Jackie Hoffman.
I don't know what else she's been in.
She sounds so familiar. I think she might have been in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh.
The recent one.
That makes sense.
Anyway, yeah.
The voice type for grandma is soprano. I did a little bit of extra research. The high note in the show for the grandma is an F5. For those of you who don't know, I believe middle C is C4.
Yes.
So it would be the F an octave above... They're 2 octaves above middle C.
Yeah.
Correct? Yes. And then the low note is a G4, so that would be the G above middle C. Or below middle C. Because it starts with
C.
I never know this.
Who knows?
I don't know. Anyways, just look it up if you're wondering. A little description of the character. So Grandma Addams, mother of Gomez and Fester, or allegedly. We don't know. Like, she showed up to the mansion 12 years ago and hasn't left since. She lives in the attic where she drinks, smokes marijuana, and maintains her stock of potions.
Oh, is marijuana called out in the show?
Yes.
That's so funny.
I believe there's a line where Morticia says, all she does is smoke weed.
That's great.
And they're
living the life.
She's like, your mom's been here for 12 years. And he's like, I thought that was your mom.
What a that's so
great
funny.
line. She's quick-witted, sarcastic, and funny. Also a caring, good listener. She gives a lot of advice to the younger brother, Pugsley. And like I said, she's ageless. So you can I've seen a lot of young people play this role.
Yeah.
To perfection, honestly. There was a couple people that I saw in the production with my friends are in. The person who played the grandma. Fantastic. She was one of my favorite roles.
It's a fun one.
It's a fun one. You just get the random one-liners that I think the audience gets caught off guard by, and
it's definitely the most like cartoonish character. like, there's not too much nuance with Grandma, but it's a fun time. There's nothing better than just a crazy character who's just all over the place, and to provide some comedy.
For an Addams family that is filled with ghouls, ghosts, and goofy people, she is by far the goofiest.
Which says something about how goofy she really is.
Maybe she's not related though. Maybe that's the issue.
She wandered in their house.
She just
came
walking
through Central
She
Park.
just walked through Central Park and made her way into the attic.
They're like, "That's your mom." That's probably.
It makes me think of the pigeon lady. Oh, you haven't seen the movie?
I haven't seen the movie.
The second Home Alone movie.
Oh gosh.
New York, where they somehow find their way into some opera house and she's just living in the attic.
You mean Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins? Is that what we're talking about?
No, different character. Different character. So some audition songs that I came up with, I had a few. She doesn't really have too much of a singing role in the show. She sings a lot with characters, not a lot of solo opportunity. I believe maybe in the song Let's Not Talk About Anything But Love, she has a reprise. I don't know if that was in the one that we had saw. I don't remember.
Not sure.
I don't think so. But she does sing a good amount with everyone else in a lot of the songs. Funny, comical, more character type. I picked the Stepsister's Lament from Cinderella.
That's a good pick.
Another one.
But like as a solo.
And also as a crazy grandma. Because the reason I picked this, I had the thought, was the one line from when they were doing... Help me out here. The game.
Oh, Full Disclosure.
Full Disclosure. The song Full Disclosure. When she pops out and she talks about how she wants to find some older gentleman to show her a good time. And she points to the people in the audience. She's like, yeah, I see a lot of 90-year-old bachelors out there. And I think, Stepsister's Lament, she's going to be like, why can't a guy choose a girl like me?
That's
the crazy
true.
one.
You want, for Grandma, you want over-the-top songs. And that's definitely a great pick.
So that's the reason I kind of rolled with that one. It's just more, it's not really one that you think of as being an older lady, but it's more of one that feels funny. So the second one I picked was So You Want to Be a Nun from Nonsense. Have you ever heard this song?
Tell me about it.
It's a great song. It's basically a funny, quippy song about the character coming in and trying to, because she's undercover.
Nonsense is the name?
Nonsense.
Okay, all right.
Have you ever seen this?
No.
So it's just like someone trying to come in, be a nun.
Gotcha.
All the things. It's just like a lot of wacky things. It's like, oh, you want to be a nun? Sure. Give it a listen.
Yeah.
It's more the tone of the song I kind of liked. I think I vibed with for the grandma. It's just like a funny, quirky song. I think that's the trope that I was going with, was trying to find funny, quirky songs for this grandma. And the last one I picked was You'll Never Walk Alone from Carousel.
Nice.
This one's more of a sweeter, somber song.
Pick.
It shows a good amount of that soprano at the end that you could use possibly for an audition cut. And then that one's just, it's more of a show off your vocals kind of thing that I think the grandma needs to have some vocals. She got to sing a little bit,
She's got to scream at the top of her lungs for things.
Yeah, she got to sing a little bit. But that's kind of how I broke down what I was going for the grandma audition song. So
good stuff.
You want to take the next one?
Yeah. I'm going to give you some Lucas Beinecke information.
Lucas. The male ingenue.
Indeed.
Is there such thing as a male ingenue?
Isn't it? That's a question.
People leave us a comment. Is there such thing as a male ingenue?
Lucas Beinecke, the love interest of Wednesday, originally played by Wesley Taylor of Plankton fame in SpongeBob.
Yeah, so if you know SpongeBob the musical.
Yes,
there you go.
Indeed. Also Rock of Ages fame. He hits that high note. You know in the Tony, everybody wants a thrill. That's him.
Yes.
We love Wesley Taylor. Voice part, tenor/baritone. He doesn't hit anything crazy in the show. Doesn't have to be the most vocally,
He's got a little bit
acrobatic.
Nothing really too acrobatic, but I would say that it sits in a higher spot. For those who maybe are a little bit lower of a voice, it might be a little more uncomfortable in some of the, especially crazier than you.
Yep. So low note C3. Not too bad.
Octave below middle C.
Octave below middle C. High note E4. So
Oh, that's not terrible.
not bad at all. But getting to that bridge. So, if you're not the strongest singer, don't worry about it. You could still be a great Lucas. So what I wrote for Lucas, I think the most important things when you want to audition for this character is earnest. You got to be earnest, authentic, boy next door sort of
He's
vibe.
He's the opposite of Wednesday.
Yes.
So he's the happy, poignant Ohioan. Like
Yes, but not to the end of the spectrum as like his mom is. As
no,
Alice
no,
is.
he is not like
He's more in the middle.
sugar plum and fairies, like rainbows kind of thing. But he is the essence of like good. Like he's a pure soul.
Yeah.
Like all of his intentions are for love.
Exactly. Lucas is, I guess, all the nuance in his character is in regards to Wednesday. He loves Wednesday so much, and he would die for Wednesday, and that's a big theme of why Wednesday really believes that Lucas is the one for her, and we can talk about that later. But the songs I picked for Lucas, because it's a boy in love, there are a lot of options. Pretty easy to find a boy in love, young boy in love song. But the specific ones I called out, I'm gonna say Some Girls from Once in This Island. He's based, Once in This Island, that song is a little more, if you know the whole story of Once in This Island, he's confessing his love, but you know that in the end, he doesn't really, he's kind of,
Promiscuous is what we say.
is the word I'll
His
say.
intentions are good, but also he's got other priorities.
But what I like about Some Girls is that, so Daniel is a character that sings Some Girls, and
Yes, I played Daniel in high school. I know Shane.
he did, yes. And he's sort of in the richer upper class, and he realizes that, he has lots of feelings for Timoon in the lower class. So there's a bit of a parallel there with Lucas falling in love with someone who's not very much unlike his family, which I think is interesting.
Yes.
I also wrote down All That's Known from Spring Awakening. And give some more context for that. Basically, Spring Awakening is about a bunch of boys who are repressed.
Parents, be aware if you let your children listen to this. It is a little bit on the
raunchy
side, a little bit over PG-13. So just viewer discretion is advised.
The song is basically the character Melchior singing about, the injustice in the school, feeling repressed, which I think is very much like Lucas, who, is constantly in this tug of war with his parents, who were like, want to put him in this box, but Lucas says, I don't want to be like my parents. I want to be, more out there, etc. Which I do like that parallel a lot. I'm gonna call out two more. I know there's kind of a lot, but
I mean, I have a good amount for some of the other ones
Okay.
too. I think it's
cool. What Do I Need with Love from Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Great song, little Gavin Creel
Little
action.
Gavin Creel.
We love Gavin Creel. Gavin
we love
Creel,
Gavin Creel around
if you
here.
listen to this someday, shout out. We'd love to do a collab.
Oh God,
Come on the show, please.
I would freak out. But What
You
Do
were
I Need with
great in
Love?
Into the Woods.
It's a great song because there's an arc within the song of him being hesitant towards really feeling things for this person, and then by the end, giving in, which I think is great.
Yeah, I feel like Lucas is someone that needs to be a little bit of a dual character threat where he's got to be able to show that he's been raised in the normal family of the Midwestern family that some of us were raised in, and kind of show that he's got this edgier side to him, that he's not always as nice and normal as he seems, which is kind of a hard thing to play sometimes, especially in an audition.
For sure. And with Lucas, it's in a short time period that you have to convey that. It's like right at the beginning of Act 2 when Wednesday's trying to leave, and you have to convey that tug of war of, I want to go back and repair my family, but I love Wednesday so much. That's within 2 songs or something that arc.
Yeah,
happens.
it's very quick.
Very quick. So I have Some Girls, All That's Known, What Do We Need With Love. I'm going to give an honorable mention to Ready, Set, Not Yet from Beetlejuice. A little bit of a curveball, but I was listening to it the other day, and obviously it's a duet, but what's the name of the Adam, right? Adam.
And Carrie Butler. I don't know the other person. I just know it's Carrie Butler. Rob McClure and Carrie Butler.
Rob McClure. Very much, not so much the characters are alike, but the character tendencies, I think, are very similar between Lucas and Adam. So if you want something a little more out there, I think it's a fun, different option to do like the beginning of Ready, Set, Not Yet when it's just him singing.
It's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's next?
On to the next. We got Mr. Pugsley Addams.
Pugsley.
I
love Pugsley.
I don't know how to pronounce the last name of this man, but it's Adam Riegler.
I don't know.
Sorry if I butchered your name out there.
Sorry,
You'll probably never hear this anyways. But Pugsley is a tenor. His high note is an F4.
Yeah.
And his low note is an A2.
Yes. Well, he's a kid.
He's a kid.
Yeah.
Pugsley is the son of Morticia and Gomez Addams, younger brother of Wednesday. He shares a lot of the preferences for pain and mayhem. His favorite pursuits are being tortured by Wednesday. He's homeschooled, so rather isolated. He counts a lot on his older sister to be kind of there for him, be his friend.
Yeah.
He views torturing as a way of their connection, their bond, but when she gets a new boyfriend, he worries that she'll no longer have time to torture him and that he'll be lonely. So
poor guy.
He comes up with a smart, mischievous plan to steal his grandma's acrimonium, which brings out the drinker's dark nature, and hatches a plan to sabotage his sister's impending wedding, and in doing so, get his best friend back.
No. Pugsley's such a sweet character.
He is. It's like it's funny because of the nature of the Addams family being all about the ghouls and the death, and so his whole ordeal is being tortured, but it's mostly just spending time with the sister that he cares about.
Yeah.
So everything he just wants to win her affection. It's kind of the brotherly love with the sister that is kind of his goal, his motive for the whole show. So I think that's something that you should try to convey if you're planning to audition for him, is that he's just someone who yearns for that affection and validation.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a pretty universal feeling.
They're the only siblings together, so
yeah, good point.
So he only has a sister.
He
and
looks up to his sister a lot, and it means so much when by the end she.
And so
reaches back out to
him.
Some
I have some interest. Pugsley is very hard to pick for a song because it is a child, and there aren't a lot of like songs that work well for children. Yeah? But I have a few that I think maybe might work.
Hit me.
First one, Rosemary from How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Interesting.
You would not think of this as being a song.
Tell me about it.
But if you think about the song itself, this is right after, if anyone knows anything about How to Succeed, it's right after J. Pierpont Finch kisses Hetty LaRue, which is the what was the word?
The only production I've seen is your production.
Mistress is the word. She's the mistress to the head honcho, and she kind of flirty with all the guys, and she's interested in J. Pierpont Finch, and so they share a little kiss, and in that moment he realizes that his love is for Rosemary. So these bells go off. So he's like singing her name, very high, angelic, like very yearning, like, oh, I didn't realize all these things. It's kind of that almost like affection side of like Pugsley with his song What If is kind of like, what if they don't do this? And he's like, what if I don't tell her, like, is she not gonna know?
It's very innocent, young.
You know, the lyrics for the show is like, suddenly there's music in the sound of your name. It's like,
that's cute.
What if this doesn't, kind of thing. And so I thought, the voice type is very similar, very much of the like higher tenor kind of timbre. That like sound is kind of what I wanted, the quality of being able to show that you're yearning for affection from someone else.
I like that.
So I got with that. Something I found, didn't even know this was a thing. The song Almost Nearly Perfect.
Don't know it.
It's from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh.
But it's from the London version.
Only the London
Only
version.
the London version. It never made it to America.
I've only seen the Broadway version.
Yeah.
Interesting. I assume sung by
Charlie. Yeah.
Okay.
It's British accent. It's just another one of those like yearning songs. Like it's almost there. We're just one step away from being able to make it. It's another one that it's kind
the
of
end of the show, kind of.
I think it's actually. I feel like it's towards the beginning.
Okay.
Where it's just like your life is almost turned around, kind of thing like that. So it has a very. I was trying to find similar sounding songs,
like
music wise, just because it is very much you have the one song and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really only comparing for trying to find an audition song for just the one song. So some of these I don't really know. And then I picked Home Again from a show called Captain Louie.
Home Again. I don't know this either.
It's just another one of those very random songs that I just was searching the internet.
Sometimes those are the best.
And then you just find these songs. I think that's another one you kind of got to give a listen to have good context.
There's some gems.
But if you listen to it, you'll understand.
Is it a kid singing it as well?
I believe it's an adult.
Oh, interesting.
But there's nothing that says that you can't bring things to whatever.
Yeah.
And then finally, I picked the song Stranger from Big Fish.
Oh, nice.
Because that's another one. It's like the moral dilemma in his life. Like if you've seen Big Fish, the son is unsure about being a father because his father wasn't ever there for him, and he told him all these stories, and he doesn't know what to believe from his dad. And so this one's kind of like the opposite of like the yearning for affection, but more so, what if this never happens to, like, what if this doesn't happen? What if that doesn't happen? Which is very much like the what if song. So, and it's very much the higher tenor, you know, if you've ever listened to it. So it works well with that. And
Andrew Lippa.
You might want to pick a bigger cut for the song, just because there's some parts that talk about being a dad and things like that. So you probably don't want that in your audition piece if you're going for a child. Mm-hmm. But it could work. You never know. Yeah. It's a great song, great show.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be talking about that one in the future. But
we're going to see a production of it in the next couple months. There's a local theater doing that. So
yeah, a couple people are doing it. So that will be an episode in the future. So stay tuned for when that drops, if it ever drops.
Hell yeah.
All right, what we got next?
I'm gonna hit you with some Alice Beinecke information.
Great character.
Goodness.
This character's hilarious.
Before, so like I said, I hadn't remembered much about Addams Family, but so Corbin and I got together to watch that production, and Corbin was saying like, if you're doing Addams Family, you probably want a strong Alice, and I'm like, it's just the mom of Lucas. Like I don't understand why it's so important. And then I watched it. So funny. So Alice is Lucas's mom. Very influenced by the dad in a way, you know, very uptight at first, but you see some of her through her rhyming and her poetry, sort of her creativity trying to come out in her daily life.
Well, she does make a note that when she gets nervous and when she's anxious, she starts to rhyme.
Yeah.
So
for sure. It's like, you know, a mechanism of, you know, relief from her anxiety, which is put down by the dad at times. I'm like, why are you rhyming? Stop rhyming.
Mm-hmm,
you know, the dad's I'll get to the dad, but he's at the end of the spectrum.
Yeah, boo.
Boo, dads.
Never bring anyone down for their creativity.
Amen. So Alice Beinecke, soprano, is the, you know,
she gets up there.
Yeah, for sure. The original I don't know how to say her name, Carolee Carmello of Parade fame, who's fantastic in Parade. I love Parade.
Yeah, you're gonna hear that show name about 100 times in the next like 30 episodes. So just get ready.
I'm sorry.
If you ever hear the word Parade and Shane in the same sentence,
oh my god, it's so good.
They're just synonymous at this point.
So the arc of Alice. She's sort of uptight, you know, again, hesitant for Lucas to be, you know, part of the Addams family. And end of Act 1, she accidentally drinks the acrimonium, and then chaos ensues.
All that inner darkness
just boom
breaks free.
Bursting
It
out.
is just out on the floor.
It is so funny. Quick fun fact. The next person to replace the original actress was Heidi Blickenstaff of Something Rotten fame, who is amazing.
Funny you say that.
Well, I say it because the first song I have here is Right Hand Man.
Great song.
Rotten. I think for Alice, you want just to show female power, like a strong female character who's can be independent. And although Alice is so involved with Mal and such, she really comes to life. There's a one line where she's like, "Sit your ass down" or something. And it's like, you don't own me. You don't tell me what to do. I love you, but I am my own person. Let me express myself how I want.
Yeah, I think this show does a great job at showing almost like mirror identities of each of the families. If you think of it in a sense of the Addams family, a lot of the characters, like the dad, the mom, the son, are almost polar opposites of, I would say, the supporting characters of Gomez, Morticia, and Wednesday Addams. The dad very uptight, where I think Gomez is very loose.
Oh yeah.
The mom very peppy, very sunshiny, whereas Morticia is definitely not that. And then obviously we talked about with Wednesday and Mr. Lucas they're both a little bit opposites when they come to each other.
Yeah.
They say opposites attract, so
beautiful stuff. So I have Right Hand.
So yeah,
Man.
so I think that is something that for the first bit is you got to play almost like you're the opposite of Morticia,
Too happy. But too happy is right. There's something wrong with her being too happy, and makes sense.
They always say the happy people are the ones that, they got a little bit. There's always two sides to the coin. A bit of
darkness in there.
Yeah. Sure. Someday you'll see Shane's darkness. We'll see.
Next song I have is
on to the next segment.
Next song I have is Adelaide's Lament from Guys and Dolls. Basically, rundown of the song. She's sung sadly by Adelaide when Nathan Lane fails to show up for their elopement because he's still running the crap game. She's super disappointed, but not really surprised to be stood up. Frustrations about her relationship is basically this ongoing theme I'll have with the next two songs I pick. Great song, cute song. I think it works well for Alice just because they're both frustrated with their partners. I love it. My favorite pick, I'd say, for audition song, third is Bride's Lament from Drowsy Chaperone.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. Another lament song. So Adelaide's Lament, Bride's Lament.
All the laments.
So
she's just lamentful.
She's so lamentful.
Is that a word? Probably not.
In a musical dream sequence, Janet laments her lost romance and decides to return to the stage. Very similar themes. In Act 2, in Addams Family, after Alice lets go, but Mal hasn't, I forget what songs are sung, but she's basically reaching out to him, be like, I miss the old you.
It's, I'm trying to think of what song it is. I mean, I remember they come back together on Crazier Than You Reprise.
Yes. That's when she brings him back.
I don't know if it's much of a song as it is kind of
interlude.
Like an interlude being like, hey, what happened to the guy that used to wear the Evil Dead t-shirt and kind of and the bandana, I think it was.
Bride's Lament, I think, is a great choice because I don't know much about Drowsy Chaperone, but
I do. It's great.
It's so silly as well.
It's the whole premise of that song is she tried to give him a test. So she's getting married. She's leaving. She's a very famous performer, leaving show business. Gave her fiance a test of his loyalty, and he was blindfolded on roller skates, and they're going around, and she put on this character in like a French accent.
Yeah.
So it's her using a French accent while he's blindfolded on roller skates. And their conversations are so deep that they end up sharing a kiss,
Oh, snap.
which then makes her think that
He
he was cheating, but it was with her.
But
But it was her pretending to be someone
were they
else.
on a break? Friends question.
But
classic.
it was mostly because of the way of her words wooed him the same way that she wooed him the first time. So it was just him falling in love with her again without her, whole ordeal. So that's why the song is pretty funny.
Bride's Lament has that, lament aspect, but also it's so funny. Like, the words are hilarious, and I think it matches so well with how outrageous Alice's song is, Waiting. So outrageous. I think it's a good choice. I'm going to give an honorable mention to A Way Back to Then from Title of Show. Heidi Blickenstaff.
That's a Heidi
as
Blickenstaff,
well.
yeah.
Shout out. It's maybe a little too reflective, maybe a little slow than you want for an Alice, but if you really love the song, I think it's a good choice. Just sort of reminiscing of her childhood, back to a time where silly was okay, which is the whole Beinecke arc. So yeah, those are my songs. For Alice, most productions want a vocal powerhouse for an Alice, because Waiting is such...
You want a double threat. You want an actress who gives you... She's very much one of the comedy reliefs of a lot of the show. And so, because, I would say Gomez is probably the other one. He's got a lot of funny quips.
He's our main character.
He's like main character funny. So he's just like...
Almost, yeah.
So he's just kind of...
It's the most comedic relief
Most
you
comedic
get
relief.
from Alice.
But then she's kind of the one who you're just like, oh, I don't expect this person to kind of be the funny one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
So good.
I love
She's
it.
so good. Funny role. You should play it someday.
100%. Who's next?
Not you, but like,
Oh.
I'm talking about you.
You don't
the,
think
the,
I could
the
do it,
viewers.
though?
I don't know.
You don't think I'm talented like that?
That's not what I'm saying. It's just like,
Why do you hate me, dude?
Maybe we'll gender bend the role
Okay.
someday.
Who's next?
I have Mr. Fester, Uncle Fester.
Fester. I love Fester.
He's
a lot.
he is probably top 2 roles of the show for me. I would say. I would never do it because I don't want to shave my head. But you can wear bald cap.
wore
It's
wigs for
fine.
shows.
Wigs.
Yeah.
My friend shaved his head for the show.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, full scent.
Was he told to do that?
I don't know, but he full sent it. He shaved his head for the show.
My God.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, he fantastic, by the way. So he's a tenor, baritone, originally played by Kevin Chamberlain.
Kevin Chamberlain, shout
Yeah,
out.
shout
of
out.
Seussical fame as well.
Yeah, speaking of, his high note is E4. His low note is a C3.
So not too high.
Not too
actually.
high.
Not high at all.
He has one note that might not be counted in the scale because it's kind of...
Yeah.
It's an option,
At
I
the
think.
end of Moon and Me,
Yes.
he hits a really high note. It's in a flipped mix,
It's in a
really
flip.
head mix place. So
Yes.
don't worry about belting.
And
things.
I've seen productions not do it.
Yeah.
So I think it is a choice
Yeah.
that Kevin Chamberlain was able to do.
It's a very comfortable place.
Yeah. So Fester, Gomez is Gomez's brother, and then thus the uncle of the family for Wednesday and Pugsley. Fester has a lot of his own oddities. For example, we talked about he declares during full disclosure that he's in love with the moon, and later sings a love song dedicated to the lunar beloved.
Which on paper sounds totally unbelievable. And
If you
kind
had
of
told me that a
silly.
character was just like, I'm gonna write a love song for a character, and that sounds great. It's for the moon. You'd be like, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
But it works.
It does work. It's a
But
great
largely,
song.
Sorry to interrupt you so much, but largely because of the actor, you have to have a really lovable actor. You know.
I just love the la 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 la. It's just so good. But so he's a very sweet romantic man. He's the one who really, honestly, supports the union of Lucas and Wednesday the most. Because
Yes,
early
he's on board from the beginning.
He's on board from the beginning. He acts as sort of the narrator of the story.
That's why, because we're on board from the beginning. We want them to be together.
Yes.
He's ushering us through that story.
You know, the whole beginning of Wednesday turns 18. She's becoming an adult, a woman.
Yeah.
And she falls in love, wants to get married to this boy. And Fester is kind of the one who pushes that relationship on by having the ancestors kind of aid
Yes.
in their way of getting the families together and making sure that everyone's playing nice.
Weird just tangent, but isn't it cool, the idea of like having all your ancestors backing you up? It's just a fun concept.
The ancestors are a very fun role because there's so many different characters that you can be. Like the ones I've seen, I saw people who were Vikings, Renaissance men,
You can plug
soldiers. Like you could find anything from history and make it your character. My friend was a caveman. That was a cool one. Caveman, yeah.
Damn.
So rounding out Fester, he generally breaks the fourth wall.
Yes.
Talks to the audience. A lot of clips of talking to the audience. And then he has his own little solo called Fester's Manifesto, where he plays the banjole, which is like a mixture of the banjo and the ukulele.
A real instrument?
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
But,
Fester has it.
Hey, Fester has it. So some of the audition songs that I decided to come up with, the first one being How Lucky You Are from the musical Seussical.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's not a Kevin Chamberlain song.
It's not the Kevin Chamberlain.
No, the cat sings it.
Interesting. Okay, yes, because that one's sung a couple of times in Seussical, right?
There's a lot of reprises of that song in the show. But the original one, end of Act 1 in Seussical, sung by the cat.
Gotcha. How lucky you are. Tell me why.
Well, it's very much so Fester kind of is one of those character voices. I think he's kind of a lot of people emulate Kevin Chamberlain. Obviously, you don't have to. I think Fester, the first thing you should always do when going into an audition and a character is try to make it your own. Like we want, most people who are watching want a genuine character. We don't always want the very carbon copy played out. Make it your own. I believe Eva.
Eve.
We just watched this. No.
Eva.
How do we
It's
usually
Eva.
say it?
We've said Ava, but I think it's Eva.
Eva. Okay. Eva Noblezada. Sorry. She said in an interview when someone asked her about how she came up with her character for Miss Saigon.
Oh, yes. I do know this. Yes.
Where they asked her, what did you watch anything? How did you know?
So backstory real quick. Like Lea Salonga was the original
Yes.
Kim. So iconic. Amazing performance, like once in a lifetime performance. So when you're replacing that or doing a revival of that show, it's easy to just take from that. And what did Eva say?
She said that she never watched anything.
That's crazy.
And so she came up with the character all on her own.
Insane to me.
Yeah, didn't watch a thing.
Lea's Miss Saigon before doing it is insane to me.
So the word of advice is just try to do your best to make it your own. Make it true to you. Make it so that it resonates with, because that's what's going to resonate with the audience is seeing a believable, true character on stage.
It's a well-written character, so just take a step back and just look at the character.
Yeah, always put a little piece of yourself in someone.
100%.
That makes it original.
That makes it authentic.
Because there's only one of you.
True.
Unless you're a twin, then there's two of you.
Genetically.
Not actually. Well, kind of. So, How Lucky You Are.
How lucky you are. Yeah, why?
The song is kind of the cat of Seussical is kind of the narrator, the MC. He's the one running the show.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Narrators.
And
Nice.
the song How Lucky You Are is just talking about, even when the sky is gray and gloomy, be lucky that you're here and we're with each other.
It's kind of a side comment to the fourth wall break, sort of a wink. Look at all this stuff happening on stage right now.
Yeah, because during the song How Lucky You Are, everything bad possible is happening.
Yeah.
But you should always just remember how lucky you are.
Like
And a very, very similar tone, character-esque. So I thought, that'd be great.
Fester can't physically be with the moon, but he's.
Well, he tried. He
does
get on a
touch it.
rocket.
It's true.
He gets on a rocket.
But he says the distance makes it more beautiful.
Yes.
So.
Then the second song I chose was "Where Are All the People" from Chaplin, the musical.
Oh, Rob McClure, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Great song.
I don't know it.
I don't know if the message exactly is similar enough, but I do think the style of singing is a little more charactery. It's got that goofiness to it. Goofiness is definitely key. So I think the sound is underrated show, by the way. I've heard a couple songs from it now.
Chaplin?
Yeah, definitely we should give it
Really?
a listen sometime.
Okay, yeah.
It's got some really good music in it.
Interesting.
So check that one out. The next one I put is one of a favorite actor of mine, Mr. Christian Borle.
Mr. Christian
from
Borle.
The Falsettos. What more can I say?
Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So what is the reason why you think I picked that one out for Fester? What would you think?
I mean, it's heartfelt, very heartfelt. Beyond that, I don't know why.
I think it has to do a lot with the loving aspect of like, kind of, what if I love this person but they don't love me back? Like, you know, he's talking about like, because of the moon, kind of heartfelt, the whole forbidden love between the two. You know, Lucas and Wednesday, he's talking about that. Like, what if that doesn't work out? Like, you know, it's kind of just something that a little sweeter toned character. Because I think a lot of Fester's songs are very sweet. You know, let's not talk about anything else but love. Like, you know, stuff like that. So his whole premise is around love.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the songs that I went with are about love, because I think that's kind of the overall arch of his motivation as a character. Is he wants to see love succeed. Yeah.
Adorable.
And an honorable mention, I didn't really get a ton of information about this song, so I'm just going to give it an honorable mention. The song's called Phone Call. Lucky Stiff from the show Phone Call.
I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah, it was a very obscure show that I found.
Yeah.
I think it's about, like, the premise is someone's on a phone call with someone talking about, I don't know if it's a lover or someone else, but just I listened for like 30 seconds and I went, that could work.
Okay.
It's very obscure, but I was like, this could work.
But like we said, some gems are in those obscure
people
shows.
The thing, we'll do another episode probably about the overused audition songs and the shows that get overused, because there are certain songs we know, most people know in the theater world, that you should not touch, because everyone throughout history has probably done it at some point.
Yeah.
And
I have my opinions on that, but yeah.
I do think that's more geared towards professionals than it is for community theaters.
Yeah, that's my thought.
I think you should pick something that you like. I think it's okay. I don't think a lot of community theater directors and production staffs are going to care too much about, you know, if we're singing On My Own again from, you know, Les Mis, you know.
But give the obscure ones a chance.
Give them a chance. People like something they've never heard before because they will listen more intently to it.
And also, they won't be comparing your performance to one they already know.
Yes.
You know? So, like, it's an easier way to make something
because I think in an audition, the main goal is to stand out. You want to be the one to differentiate yourself from the rest of the crowd, because that's how they're going to be like, I remember that one. I think they'd be great as this.
Yeah.
You know, how else is someone going to know if 13 people sing the same song in an audition?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to separate yourself from a crowd.
One of you 50 sung On My Own, you know.
Yeah,
like,
you know, so you want to try to sometimes don't go really obscure that we sit there going, where did you find this one?
Show, yeah.
There are reasons why some shows are unknown. Let's just leave it like that. Shots fired.
Well, tell me about this one.
I kind of give you a little bit. I don't really know too much about it.
Okay.
It kind of is something more like, it has the premise of being on the phone and something about, I don't know if it has to do with gambling, the whole Lucky Stiff reason.
But you listen to it and the vibe.
Yeah, the vibe rang Fester. Very, very funny character. Like I said, goofy was kind of what the whole premise of what I was going with Fester. Because he's a goofy guy. He's a weird fellow. All I can think of is when he tried to be a football player and he said touchdown and he bowed his head, took his hairpiece off. That's what I think. That encapsulates Fester.
Yeah. He's just happy to be there.
He's just happy to be there. All right. Now we're getting into the, basic, kind of the meat and potatoes of of the show. We're down to the
getting
final
there.
4.
Next
The
up,
Duke and the North Carolinas of the musical theater show Addams Family. Sorry, that was a basketball reference. Most of you might not know
I
that.
didn't get it. I'm sorry. I'm not as cool as you, but I laughed. Mal
Some of you might know
Beinecke,
that.
Malcolm Beinecke, father of Lucas. Tenor is the voice type. We have low note C3, high note A4. Kind of up there.
It gets up there.
Kind of up there.
Up there. Sorry.
So Mal, original actor Terrence Mann of Beauty and the Beast.
The Beast?
It's the Beast, which I would never have guessed. He sounds so like his speaking voice sounds different, but like the sing, I would never guess that Beast was Mal.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
That's nuts.
Mal has a very familiar character arc, but one of my favorites of an uptight, not necessarily, doesn't always have to be a father, but often father figure who rediscovers childlike silliness. Great art.
He is I would say the epitome of kind of the destructiveness of corporate America. I would say a lot of people grow up and they have the overbearing father or some sort of parent who wants you to follow in their footsteps, kind of the family business type. You should be doing this stuff, working long hours at the office, not paying a lot of attention because their forefront is providing for their family kind of deal. And I think you kind of lose yourself as for us going from teenagers to your mid-20s to even your early 30s, most of us are figuring out what it is to be an adult.
Yeah.
And so we kind of are molding our own people now, and I think that kind of gets muddled sometimes.
And along the way, you can forget what's really important.
Yes.
And, which is the people in your life.
That sometimes people say it's time for you to mature.
Yeah, it's like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? Yeah.
That means nothing.
It doesn't. I'm still a child.
Yeah.
I'm 28. It's fine.
So, like I said, very common theme, which is great because you have lots of characters throughout musical theater history to sort of pull from. First one, kind of a curveball, but if you want to lean into the capitalist nature of it and more his character before he's transformed, I put The Bottom Line from Newsies.
I thought you were going to say All About the Green. I was like, really? You're going to throw that one in already? Okay.
From The Wedding Singer. Honorable mention. All About the Green. We just did Wedding Singer recently.
It's all about the green.
Bottom Line for Newsies, sung by, what's his face? Evil corporate
Pulitzer. That's a good song.
It's a pretty, simple in its theme. Evil capitalist greed.
He's just the guy. He's talking about the bottom line of his his business.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
all about himself.
When that's the only thing he cares about.
All he cares about is being the business guy. Yeah,
Which is pretty much like what Mal is in the beginning of the show.
100%.
It's a little, Bottom Line. Pulitzer's a little maybe too evil, on the side of evil, but
he is just. He's the one that he just wants his family to conform to an identity, and
yes,
he's just very much like, we have to be normal, and you have to take over the job, and you have to do all this. That,
I mean, there's the parallel between his daughter. I don't even remember the Newsies character's name. Cara Lindsay. It's her dad, right?
Catherine Plummer.
Catherine.
I pulled that out of thin air.
Well done. And also Mal's view of Lucas, his son, just wanting to, this is how things are. I have a couple more. Like I said, this character arc is pretty common in musical theater. I'm going with a song called A Man Has Dreams from Mary Poppins.
Oh.
George Banks is a great example.
Yes.
Very much like
George
Mal.
Banks is a very Mal-esque character.
Totally Mal. Not as evil as Pulitzer, so I think this is a little more...
It's just very much... There's so many characters out there, I think,
There's a ton.
that their job is their focus, and they lose kind of the sight of their family because of it.
100%. A Man Has Dreams comes closer to the end of the show. Some vase breaks, and it reveals a collection of gingerbread stars from his childhood, and that leads him. The song's like a short, like reminiscing of, oh yeah, I used to find joy in these small things. Perfect to show the arc for Mal.
Yes.
It's a little short, the song. Bert's also in it, and he kind of has some interjections, so you might have to cut together.
Yeah, and I think Mal isn't as much about the singing as it is kind of encapsulating that character.
Yeah.
That very much corporate minded family man who is just there to provide for his family and no matter the cost to their sanity.
Which is a common,
it happens a lot.
Happens in real life.
It's very realistic.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, pardon me. So, next song, kind of a weirder one. It's called I'll Begin Again from Scrooge the Musical. Scrooge is like...
Why do I feel like I've heard this before?
There was it was an obscure song and an obscure musical, but then they made a Netflix film recently with Luke Evans, and he sung it. And it got fairly popular. Scrooge is pretty much the archetype of grumpy guy finds happiness again. He's like one of the original characters, Charles Dickens, etc. I'll Begin Again is at the end of the show when he sort of declares like, "You're right, I was being a grumpy, annoying old guy. Here's life. Here's why life is beautiful. I'll begin again." Cute song, underrated. So I would recommend checking it out. Super pretty. I'm gonna give a shout out to Von Trapp from Sound of Music. Father figure. Not exactly the same arc as Mal, but does have the heartfelt love for his family that you want Mal to have it by the end of the show. So I put Edelweiss down. I think Edelweiss maybe a little overplayed, but I love it as an audition song. Beautiful song. Looks like you disagree with me.
No, I disagree. It's a little overplayed.
Yeah, you think it's overplayed. I love Edelweiss. But there's also another song with Von Trapp and Sound of Music called Something Good.
Might be a better option.
It's a little short as well, but yeah, check it out. Good song. Basically him realizing that he's found something good with Maria. Rediscovering love and life.
I think now, as we move on to the final three, which I think are the predominant characters of the show, I would say these three kind of move along a good portion of the storyline. I think every character in a show is important from the ground up, but I think these ones kind of hold a little more weight.
Sure.
So I think something that I don't know if you're prepared for this, but I'm just going to throw it in here.
Boy.
Off the cuff.
How dare you?
I just want to throw in kind of maybe one of their songs that could possibly be for a callback, since this is called Callbacks.
Yeah, I'm ready. I got you.
The musical. So we're just going to throw in a couple songs that maybe, if you're also looking to audition, if you make it to the next step, maybe to prepare a little bit more, as these were probably going to be what most directors use. Again, just our opinions, not actual fact, but a lot of directors use a lot of the similar types of the songs just because they want to see if people can pull it off before they cast them in something.
I got you. You caught me off guard, but I'm ready.
I caught him off guard because I didn't tell him about this in our preparation. But it's fine. He's smart. He knows. All right. Oh, sorry, a little Family Guy reference there. I'm on to Wednesday Addams. Yes.
Probably the most iconic character.
Iconic.
From the show.
She is one that is probably synonymous with everyone's childhood, and people think the Addams Family, and Wednesday is probably at the forefront of that. Mostly, I think, because of the show Wednesday nowadays, but also, she was one of the funniest characters. If you watch any of the older films and series, she's so funny, so dark, so just nothing there, She's the perfect child for the Addams. She is their perfect child.
Yeah, she's their daughter.
But now things have changed.
So the Hunka Lucas shows up.
Hunka. What are we doing? What's going on? Why are we here? So Wednesday was originally played by Krista Rodriguez.
Love of our lives.
She is so good. Krista, please reach out.
I
love to talk to you.
So
love
good.
to hear you. So Wednesday is described as being a soprano slash a mezzo soprano. I would say that soprano is kind of a stretch.
I don't know what Krista categorizes herself, but
I feel like she's a mezzo.
Because she's like the master of the mix. She hits all these high notes constantly throughout the show, and it sounds full and healthy, and she's not like blowing out her voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we love Krista.
So yeah, so I would say something. So a high note is an E5.
Okay,
gets up there.
It's up there.
And low note is an A3, which I think is
that's low.
Very much a mezzo.
That's low. Yeah.
And something stylistic wise, we're talking a little bit of style wise. Yeah. Wednesday does a lot of higher belting, a lot of mixed belts.
Yes.
Like very full mixed voices that come out as kind of so.
It's the most pop
it's the most contemporary musical theater role I think there is in the show.
I think so.
And by contemporary, if you listen to shows within the last 20 years, there's a very similar sound that a lot of the leads will have. It's this very bright, belty mixed voice that you get, where a lot of the older golden age style shows are kind of more operatic, because opera was the basis of musical theater, like Oklahoma being the one that started it all.
Indeed,
is the reason, kind of how the foundation of how musicals are structured nowadays. Shout out. And so I think a lot of contemporary, as we use that word, we'll probably be using that word throughout our series, is very more mixy, very belty. Got that belty, bright tone,
Bright, I think, is the word there. Very bright.
Especially in the One Normal Night, I think.
One Normal Night. My God.
Yes.
Every time I hear that, I freak out. It's so good.
She's got that one note that I think that one's I would say that's the hardest part of the show for her, is the song One Normal Night.
I don't think she sings higher. I mean, Pulled, obviously.
Pulled is a very, I think, stamina driven song. Like you have a lot of the
but from a notes perspective, I think One Normal Night is up there over Pulled.
Yeah. I think Pulled is more about the character than it is about the power behind the voice. And I think that power comes out in One Normal Night and Crazier Than You.
Interesting.
Yeah. I would say that. But you gotta be a dual threat, maybe even a triple threat. I mean, she is in a lot of the dance numbers.
Indeed.
But some of us who can't move, it's fine. You can fake it till you make it.
You move really well, Corbin.
Fake it till you make it, as I say. So, little description. I mean, she really doesn't need much, but she's daughter of Gomez and Morticia, the older sister to Pugsley. She is iconic braided-haired character who, in the Broadway version, loses her braids because she's turning 18.
Oh, interesting.
Funny enough, that was only in the Chicago version that they kind of pointed that out. She's a smart young woman with a dark sense of humor, passionate nature, which she inherited from her parents. Wednesday wishes to experience the world and for her parents to see her as a young adult. One day, she's hunting in the park, and she happened to meet a young man named Lucas Beinecke. The two fall in love almost immediately. Lucas is almost his opposite, like I had said before, and after all of her tendencies, she kind of does the opposite of the Wednesday thing and starts to feel for these puppies and these Disney World and all of these things that are seen as cutesy and lovey-dovey, and nothing
against what she grew up being taught was.
She's the one who she hunts things with a crossbow. That's all I have to say. That's all I need to say. So, first audition song that I came up with, great song by the way, Safer. First Date the Musical.
Who sung Safer from First Date?
Krista Rodriguez.
Oh, interesting.
But so a lot of that one kind of is, I wouldn't say just because it's Krista Rodriguez, but it has
vocally
it is very similar to Wednesday. Because Krista is just the master of the mix. So she does a lot of mix belting and Safer, and I think Pulled has almost a sense of inner turmoil with herself, and I think Safer projects that really well.
I didn't think of that. No, for sure.
Because Safer, if you don't know anything about First Date, Safer, her character, goes on this first date with this guy, and she's had a bad history of dating, and she's unsure of whether or not she should continue seeing this guy because he's not kind of like the bad boys that
Not
she
like
was
the
normally
other
into.
guys.
The other men.
Yeah.
And so this song Safer is being like, would it be safer if I just stick to this, so I don't get my heart broken, because these other guys, she doesn't feel bad because they don't make her feel good about herself. And so she would rather date the bad boys and have it just end because she's like, whatever, like, who cares? This guy sucked anyways. Why should I date him?
There's no emotional attachment.
But now she finds this guy who's kind of a good guy, and would it be safer for her to just not? So she has this inner turmoil with herself of everything she's known, very much Pold-esque. Yeah. And again, very similar vocal parts because Krista Rodriguez sings both of them.
Indeed.
All right.
Good pick.
Second pick, very random song. It's called I've Got This from the musical.
Wait. I've got this. Is that one? Is that what it is? Bring It On?
No.
Oh, there's another.
Different one. It's called I've Got This from the musical Girlhood.
No,
you can't find any music on the show, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. There's like no Spotify, no cast. I don't even know if it was on Broadway.
What? Okay.
It's a musical.
Tell me about.
I think it's about this middle schooler or high schooler. I couldn't tell from the production that I had watched.
Okay. Just about some random production.
It was some random. Actually, it was someone recording a vocal part for it because she had a great voice. So,
gotcha.
And it's kind of going through that inner thing of like, are people gonna like me? Again, kind of the inner turmoil of how do I present myself to these people so that it's gonna be all okay in the end. And then she kind of comes to the realization like, I've got this. I can do this. And there's a great belt note at the end of the song that a reason I picked as kind of something that can showcase off that belty, and as well as the character of being able to kind of show the back and forth between the two. I think Wednesday is very much a back and forth.
Yeah, for sure.
Where she, even though she's very dead inside when it comes to her emotions and her facial like features, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Like she has the line like,
yeah,
see my face, I'm enthused, where it's just like nothing.
But ton is going on inside.
A ton is going on
Which makes
inside.
it a very difficult character to play.
She's got to convey those other emotions without conveying those emotions.
Yes. Preach. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Third song. So I have a lot more songs for these next two just because I think they have the majority of the songs.
Including Wednesday.
Including Wednesday.
Can we cut real quick? Sure, we'll let...
they're going to ruin our podcast. We're in the flow. Tell them to go to like McDonald's or something.
I'm going to cut real quick. Let's take a quick break.
We'll be back. Soon you'll see.
Oh, they're watching it in the car.
You'll never belong to me. All right, what are the words from Hamilton? I don't know. I'm going to message this back.
You were doing Bring It On. I'm like, you brought a Bring It On song?
No, not for this show.
I've got this.
Do we have any questions? Has anyone actually said anything? I heard follow. Did someone follow you during the middle of it?
Oh yeah, I don't know what that was. Shoot.
Soon you'll see. No questions? What are you guys doing? Why are you commenting without questions? What's going on? Sounded like a follow. I think it's your YouTube. I think it's what your YouTube sounds like when I followed you.
What up?
God, you're ruining the flow.
You know what would have been really. And then instead you were like, they're gonna ruin our.
We're editing that out anyway. We don't have any sponsors.
Well, not yet.
We're
You were content in my
fine.
You could easily cut in a sponsor, but we don't have any, so we can't cut in a sponsor.
Thanks.
Today we're sponsored by SeatGeek.
Gosh.
Get all of your
Broadway tickets.
Broadway tickets here. See all of your next shows. I don't know.
Fun.
I was right. I don't even remember where I was. God. Just kidding.
Wow. All right.
For what it's worth, crazier than you is
Yeah.
What? What did you say?
I did crazier than.
Yeah, I haven't got to that yet. I said that One Normal Night and Crazier Than You are the powerhouse songs of her, and I said that Wednesday is more of character and poem. There it goes again. Someone followed.
Oh, it's Omid. Omid donated $5.
What does this say? Omid.
Omid says I'll be your sponsor.
Oh, all right. Hold on. I'm gonna give a shout out.
Thanks, Omid.
So today's episode is sponsored by Omid.
Omid.
Omid is there for all your general cooking questions.
Indeed.
As well as giving you any bartender advice.
Indeed.
Because he has played a bartender twice.
Great dancer as well. On the dance floor, my goodness.
Shout out to
Shout out to
Omid. Thank
Omid.
you for sponsoring this
Thank
episode.
you, Omid.
Woo.
And BetterHelp.
You paid for our wood. You paid for the wood for the fire. Thank you.
Thanks, Omid. Right.
All right, back to the show.
Back to it. You were in the middle of Wednesdays.
Yes, I am on the third song
Out of how many?
out of like 5 or 6. I don't know.
Damn.
I gotta get them out.
Let's do it.
My Friend the Dictionary.
From
Putnam County Spelling Bee. So this is a song that I don't think that many would think as being a great character song.
Yeah, tell me why.
So the song My Friend the Dictionary is, I believe, Olive's first song in the show that she sings earlier on.
Sure.
And it's about parents not being there and kind of like saving her seat, and that she's only had one friend in the world, and one thing that she's always known is the dictionary. Okay. And I think that's a little synonymous with Wednesdays being like she's only ever known one thing, but now everything's changing. And so it's kind of an out there. I do like the song.
It's more than
flow,
like anxious, nervous side of things.
Yeah.
But I did not think of that.
Imagine singing that song with a blank face. I'm telling you, it could work.
Yeah, I'm on board. Do it.
It could work. It's a great song. It's a great show. But yeah, why not? I'm trying to think outside the box for our listeners. That's all I gotta say. Outside the box.
100%.
Because they don't want some random podcast giving them advice with the same songs everyone sings. Come on. Imagine rolling up to your audition with that song. That'd get some attention.
You'd stand out.
You would, because no one would sing it.
What's next?
All right, I have a song called In Short from the musical Edges.
Edges?
Yes.
That sounds familiar.
Yes. I think this song, and some of these were just kind of scrolling through, finding some things, and I listened to it, and I think it has a lot of the characteristics of what you need to be a singer for Wednesday. So a lot of the same style of singing, the very much contemporary musical theater, belting. Some of these are less about the character and more about just the singing portion of it. So it's not as much about the dark side of Wednesday Addams as it is kind of the vocal prowess that I think you need to possess to play Wednesday. And it's a song that I think sounds Nice. I think
What's it called? In Short?
In Short.
Gotcha. From Edges. Okay.
Edges. So this is a song I don't think you planned on me throwing on here,
Oh, God.
but I did.
Let It Go from Frozen the Musical.
No. It is No More Fear from Freaky
From Freaky
Friday.
Friday. Okay, let me think about that. Great song.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. For Wednesday, I think that does fit really well for the end of her arc.
Mm-hmm.
Check out Freaky Friday. Great music.
Shout out.
Shout out. No More
What's
Fear.
what's your connection to Freaky Friday, Shane?
I just really like Freaky Friday.
That's okay. You can tell everyone that you got it off the ground. It's fine.
There was when Freaky Friday was being converted into a licensed junior version, they needed a group of people, like high school, college students, to do a reading of it for Disney theatricals, and I got to be part of that group. Just super cool, super scary, but so if you ever see a school production of Freaky Friday, this guy, you're welcome.
He made it work.
No More Fear is a great song. I do think it matches for Wednesday. For
It
sure.
works well.
Yeah.
And I didn't think you'd have me put it on.
I love
Freaky
it.
Friday. I gave it a listen. It's good.
That contemporary sound as well.
Yes.
Very contemporary.
And then finally, honorable mention. This time from the show, Now Hear This.
No idea. Tell me about it.
It is a Heidi Blickenstaff song.
I love her.
Great. So maybe this one should work for Alice.
Who was
I
in
don't
Freaky
know.
Friday?
Who was in Freaky Friday.
Shout out.
It's just the show is very much. I don't know much about it to begin with, but this song I think kind of has that same start to end, figuring out who they are as a person. You know, the show. I feel like Now Hear This is a very direct title to a show, and it's kind of the person going through that inner turmoil of figuring out who they are. I mean, it's got some great vocals. Like
Really?
Heidi kills it. It's
Anything
a
she
great
does.
song overall, and I think just the sound is something else that it's kind of what I played on. Is kind of just like that Wednesday is very much is fighting within herself, and for one, her kind of change in attitude as well as trying to balance her family's wacky ways of trying to ruin her relationship. And so I think it's kind of like that coming of age because she is just turned 18 a week ago. Isn't there a song called that?
I don't know.
Just
Probably.
turned 18 a week. I don't know. Side flip. But yes, I think that's kind of the play, because imagine singing all these songs but with just a blank face. What's funnier than that?
Funny. It's so good.
But yeah, just show off the pipes, have fun with it.
Yeah.
You can work on the character later. Like, we want to see what you got.
It's an iconic.
You got to
character,
bring
man.
it. You got to bring it if
Bring
you want. If you want to play Wednesday, you got to bring it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So what do we got? Our next sponsor now. What do we got next?
Last two characters, right? Last two. You have one more.
Last two. I have one more. Yeah.
Morticia Addams. Like I said, I didn't watch the show. I didn't watch the show until like last week.
What were you doing last week?
I don't know.
You didn't watch it?
I don't remember. It's been so long ago. Morticia has become one of my favorite characters. There's so much more nuance you would think in Morticia than you would expect. So Morticia Addams, the maternal figure in the family, mezzo soprano or alto. She doesn't go too high, but the iconic voice of Bibi, the original actress. Also Chicago original Velma. Low note G3, high note A sharp 5. Morticia goes through a lot in Addams family. She starts out as uptight in a way of parallel to Mal, but in the way of she has these core beliefs. And these core beliefs are the most important thing to her. Family's number one. Family comes first. There are no lies in a marriage. And, the idea of death, right? When this applies to like everyone, if you have strong core beliefs and they're proven wrong, it can send you into an existential crisis, right? And
well, it's anything in any sort of, life partner relationship stuff. If you have set
Yeah.
rules when it comes to that, it can be tough to deal with that. And I think Morticia is very much the epitome of sometimes you don't realize it, but you become your parents.
Yes, I was going to talk about that. When she discovers that Gomez lied to her and that Wednesday lied to her, her song Just Around the Corner happens pretty much right after that. I think that is describes her character the best and the most. You were telling, like, what callback song should you prepare? Just Around the Corner. If I were a director, I'd pick that to sing. Because when her family values fall apart, she turns to the one constant that is always there. Death. Exactly.
Yes.
And, it's funny in the context of the show, but, like...
They say 3 certainties in life.
Yes. Death.
Life, death, and taxes.
Oh, life is one of them. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just death. There is no life. People just die and then no one comes back.
You talked about the parent, the mother. What Morticia learns in the show is that you can have constants and core beliefs and also nuance in your life at the same time. It's okay to not be perfect, and she realizes that her mother was traditionally perfect in that way, but she ended up being cold and distant and made life for Morticia hard growing up, and realized she doesn't want that for her daughter.
Which she unknowingly ends up kind of doing that to her daughter.
Exactly.
And it's just, the tale as old as time. Sometimes, they say the things that you're trying to avoid, you end up accidentally doing without thinking. It's just instinctual because you want what's best for your family, and you don't realize that sometimes that's what...
We are so much like our parents.
We are so much
And
like
so much of growing up is...
We are many clones.
We are many clones. So much of
growing up... You know when I said there was only one of you in the world? That's a lie.
So much of growing up is realizing your parents' traits, and maturity comes with taking the good parts.
Well, you think about growing up, the time that you're most impressionable is when you're at that younger age, and who are you with the most when you're young?
Yeah.
Your parents.
It's true. One last thing about her arc I'll say is that I love the song Live Before We Die as well. That's another song I'll say you should prepare for a callback if you're doing a duet with Gomez. Because death is her constant that gives her comfort. And you can fall into this nihilistic view of, like, if death is going to come for me, what's the point in life at all, right? But Gomez, via this song, reminds her that even if we're going to die, we might as well dance.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
So possible audition songs. I have 2 favorites. One is Poor Unfortunate Souls from Mermaid. I think the vibes are very similar. Like, Ursula's evil and stuff, but past that, she's a strong female character, super commanding, which I think is important for Morticia being.
Yeah, Morticia is if Gomez is the yin and she's the yang, like he's the silly, he's the parent that, he would probably call himself the fun parent.
Yeah, 100%.
And she has to be the disciplinarian.
She's bad cop.
She's bad cop. He's good cop because he is just too silly.
Yeah.
And very, it's almost a little bit childish at times. And she reels him in. She's very much the cold, direct parent in the situation, but also plays into the fact that their whole ordeal is talking about death and monsters.
Poor Unfortunate Souls has that commanding aspect of it, and I think the voice part is pretty similar. So if you love Poor Unfortunate Souls, I would consider it. My second favorite, pretty on par, is What I Know Now from Beetlejuice.
2 Beetlejuice songs? Who are you?
Listen,
is this because you just saw Beetlejuice?
I just saw Beetlejuice and it's great, but I think the vibes are perfect, especially for like the latter half of the show. What I Know Now is out there. Who is the character that sings What I Know Now? It's like Miss Argentina or something.
Yes.
Miss Argentina.
Miss Argentina.
So out there, so kooky, but this giant number she sings, like, it does, I think, parallel well with more how commanding Morticia is by the end of the show, I would definitely consider that one. So number 3, I have All That Jazz from Chicago, because BB is the original actress.
Yes, of course.
Makes sense. So same voice part. I think it's a great choice.
Yeah.
Nothing much to say beyond that.
I'd say there's a portion where, I mean, the family, for the most part, I don't know what her center of origins is as far as ethnicity and region of the world that she's from.
Yeah.
But the family does have some sort of Latin flair to it.
Yeah.
And
Vaguely Latin.
Vaguely Latin.
Is there an official
Somewhat.
ethnicity?
Vaguely
Yeah.
Latin. They do a tango sequence, so you got to
Yes.
have a little bit of spiciness to you, and I think
Yeah.
All That Jazz kind of gives you a little bit of that
Spice.
that extra
spice.
flair into there, into the.
Speaking of spice, I have Buenos Aires from Evita.
Mm.
Kind of a curveball for me. It might be a little too high. Evita is kind of a high mezzo. You don't really need those notes to be Morticia. But again, the strong.
Is that the Patti LuPone song?
Yes.
Yes.
Buenos Aires.
Yes.
Very, again, super strong female character. Commands the scene, commands the room she's in. Essential to be a good Morticia.
Just be commanding. That's all.
Just be commanding. That's all I want.
Take charge.
Take charge. Last one, honorable mention. Actually, first of all, yeah. So honorable mention. This one is kind of just for me. In My House from Great Comet. The character is similar in the fact that it's a kind of a mother figure who wants, at first at least, wants her daughter, Natasha in a way, to be a certain way, and is outraged when she goes against that.
Love the song.
I put here, it's an honorable mention. It's also too angry.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but yes,
honorable mention.
I think the vibe check happens if it's.
Yeah.
I don't think vocally.
Like I said, it's
it
just,
makes sense.
the character.
But yes, I do like the choice. I like the idea. Maria is a
curveball.
great person to emulate off of if you want
when
a
it comes to
good-
like analyzing the character,
analyzing.
Maria's a good one to look at.
So I think Maria has a lot of qualities that fit well with Morticia. So yeah, if you, maybe not a song, but if you're looking for a little bit of basis and Great Comet,
Character analysis for sure.
it'd be great.
Fun fact, I did not know this. After BB left, Brooke Shields takes over. for
Maybe that's why the
Morticia.
show closed.
Is
I
that?
don't know.
Oh my gosh!
Kidding.
Isn't that crazy though?
Brooke is very talented.
Is that
That was a
insane?
joke.
Brooke
Just a joke.
Shields. I don't know. And
She's
she,
great.
and she looks great. I'll say that.
No, the show closed probably because Nathan Lane left.
Yeah, probably. That is all I had for Morticia.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. Last character.
Last but not least, we have Gomez Addams.
He's sort of like who we follow through the show. Like Fester's our narrator, but
Well,
we like are with Gomez.
He is the man in the household. He is the trope leader of the clan known as the Addams family, even though I think Morticia is really the reason why they all stick together.
Yes, yeah, 100%.
But he's the silly, goofy father that encapsulates a lot of the ideals of his family. He's a very family-orientated man.
Sure.
Family ordeals are kind of the thing for him.
Yes, but in a different way than Morticia.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is doesn't want to step on anyone's toes.
He's also
kinda
more
guy.
open. Like when Wednesday confides in him first to tell him about wanting to marry Lucas, and rightfully so, because he sort of accepts it. He's hesitant, but Morticia, like you can tell, would not have taken that as easily.
Yes, he is the honest romantic.
Honest romantic, yeah.
That's kind of the two words I would use to describe
Yeah,
Gomez.
sure.
Originally played by Nathan Lane.
Legend.
Iconic.
Legend.
And his voice type is baritone bass with a high note of a B3. So
That's it. B3. High note of B3.
yeah.
Oh, low note of B3.
No, high note. Low note C2 to low C.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
He really doesn't go high at all.
Interesting.
Think of his songs like. And I don't think there was anything that really jumped out.
I thought in Live Before We Die, he had a fairly high note.
Maybe.
I don't know. You're right. Like it's not like you don't think of vocal powerhouse as Gomez.
Yeah, he's a character
yeah,
type of singer.
one of the best.
One of the best. So, as we said, that Gomez is the husband to Morticia, father Wednesday and Pugsley, and head of the Addams household. So he's a very strong believer, caring father of his traditional values to honor the family, love, and obviously death, because that's the Addams family.
Yeah.
He loves his 2 children and his wife, but then becomes a pass between the two of having to honor the ideals of
so funny.
his wife, but also protect the secret that his daughter and only daughter is trying.
I just love that he's equally as intimidated by Morticia and Wednesday. Like those scenes.
There are so many scenes in that show where it's like, but Dad, can we do this? And then his wife is like, no, we're not doing that. You're gonna sleep on the couch if you don't do what I say. And he's like, what'd I do? You know. And he sings a couple funny songs of like, there are 3 things that I won't do, and it's like lie to his daughter, lie to his wife, and tell the truth. It's kind of what he says. It's just really funny. So he's just the one who kind of has to pick up the pieces of his family as everything around him starts to fall apart. Where his daughter wants to get married and run away, and his wife finds out that he's been lying, which he doesn't do, and so she's packing up to leave, and he's like, what do I do? Is kind of what he comes into a pass. But then in the end, he realizes that he kind of brings everyone back together. He makes people realize that they're actually, there's a lot. He's the heart to heart with Wednesday.
Well, I think that song is the turning point. It sort of like reminds Wednesday of those family values. And my favorite theme of Addams Family is that we already know that death is a constant, but throughout the show you learn that love is also the other constant. And I think Gomez brings the whole family to realize that, and Fester in a way. But
that it doesn't matter. The trope of the show is it doesn't matter where you come from. Love conquers all. Family is above everything, and so you should always love your family. Is kind of thing. That's all you got. You got your family after everyone else is gone. What did you have left? You have your family. You always have your family.
Sure. Yeah.
Friends may leave, but family.
Friends unreliable.
It stays. So I think a lot of the songs that I went with kind of are more character-based songs. Sure. Gomez traditionally is Spanish. Not necessarily. Obviously, it's up to director's choice.
Very vague.
On if there's an accent wanting to be done. If you are preparing for this role, many people do a Spanish accent with the character.
Or like copy Nathan Lane, pretty much.
Or copy Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane does a little bit of an ambiguous Spanish
really
accent.
Spanish. It's kind of. Yeah.
It's kind of like, Brian D'Arcy James is Shrek.
Like that's kind of Scottish.
Is he Scottish? Maybe.
Yeah. That's
is he American Scottish? Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar vibe. We want to be able to understand the actor when we're speaking. But the first one I came up with is a song called "The Diary of Adam and Eve," the Apple Tree, from the show The Apple Tree.
Okay. All right.
And it kind of is. It's an older show, so it kind of has more of the I believe it has a little bit of the Spanish flair, the operatic kind of vibe to the old school character, talking about this apple tree with the forbidden fruit, and it's very romanticized and sensualized, and so I think that's very much Gomez is very much romanticized, sensualized.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an obscure one that I kind of put on there. It wouldn't be one that I would normally think of as being first, especially because I've never heard the show before. Sure. But it's something that I decided to put in there. It's just kind of
like we said, it's good to at least
it's good to expand my knowledge when it came to research of the song. And it's something that I found on one of the sites that was up there for songs for Gomez. Second off-Broadway show. The song is "What Is It About Her" from the show Wild Party.
Okay, Andrew Lippa.
Which we talked about, the guy who helped write the show.
Yes, also Brian D'Arcy James.
And also Brian D'Arcy James.
I love that song. I think that's let me think, for Gomez. Yeah. No, his character in Wild Party is kind of more unhinged.
Yes, but I think the words and the feeling behind the passion that Gomez has, I think is very well conveyed in the song.
This woman makes me cry. Yeah, it's so good. Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah. Third one. I think this one is more. This one, if you were to look up audition songs for Gomez, I think is very synonymous, just because it is very much the romantic, the Latin flair, the character of Gomez, and that is I Am Adelpho from The Drowsy Chaperone.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
If
What's
you
a Drowsy Chaperone?
Again, we talk about Drowsy Chaperone. This part, the show has the producer or the manager, I guess, of the famous actress is wanting to not have her come out of the game, and he's kind of in debt with some sketchy guys, some bakers.
Okay.
They are bakers in the show.
As we all are.
Yeah. So he's kind of, I need her to come out, and so he hires this man who is the lover of all, the romanticizer, Adelpho. He just has his name, and women fall for him.
Gotcha.
And so he's hired to try to seduce the female lead of the show so that they break up, the wedding's off and stuff like that. But he ends up accidentally wooing the Drowsy Chaperone. And so when he starts singing the song I Am Adelpho, it's him trying to woo and seduce this woman in the song. So it's very much, he has obviously the accent of Adelpho is very Latin. So
that is a good pick. It makes sense that's pretty high.
I think that one's makes sense. I feel like just be careful. That might be one that a lot of people decide to do.
That's the trade-off.
But to emulate the feeling behind it, it's a good reference point.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. I have Love to Me. From the show.
Wait, I got it. It's the Carrie Butler, Kelly O'Hara one. Light in the Piazza.
Light in the Piazza.
Matthew Morrison. Okay.
It is a Matthew Morrison. This one's a little bit less about, I think, character and more about the feeling of the song. I think this one's a little bit more of a softer, more pretty ballad than I think maybe might fit for a Gomez. But
if you think, again, it's like assessing your own strengths. If you're good at tapping into that more softer side for your Gomez, I think it's a good choice.
It's always good to be different. There's nothing wrong with being a little bit different. Like if 100 people do the same character voice for the show and you come out with this banger of a song and they're like, wow, this guy can sing. And
I remember that guy.
I think it's more about the presence that you give in your audition than it is exactly about how you sound.
Sure.
Because maybe you have an off day, maybe whatever. But if you're like, they're like, wow, this guy, because Gomez is very much like the stature at which you present yourself. You need to like command the stage. A lot of times, principal is you need to command the stage because that's just the type of characters that are written for them. So I think that he is definitely someone that commands the stage.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Good song. Then lastly, I have a song called Buffalo Nickel Photo Play Incorporated. Is
that from like Music Man or something?
It's from the show Ragtime.
Ragtime, gotcha.
This one's a little bit more of the playing into that Spanish accent. I think I don't know exactly the ethnicity of the character, but I think they're trying to sell something, and it's very faster pace, very much like I need like
high energy.
They're playing into that suave character of I think he's a salesman, so I believe he's trying to persuade people like I've been doing this for my family and all these things, and it's very much plays into. It's a very good song. I thought immediately Gomez when you hear it. So if you take a listen to it, then I think that kind of plays into the character.
Hell yeah.
Because Gomez is a character.
Those are some good choices.
Nathan Lane is a character actor.
He is 100%.
Super talented, but like you look at every character that he's ever played in his life, and you go,
that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Out. Cool. I want to give a shout out to Gypsy and Me from Anything Goes for Gomez as well. Same thing, nothing too special. It's probably high on those lists as well, but same like Spanish influence, seducer type. Yeah. Seducer type.
So do we have any closing comments? Because we made it through. Wow. We did it. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Look at us.
Not the people sit on the couch.
That's true. Nothing.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you to anyone, if anyone is listening, for joining us. I think this
Yeah.
has been a long time coming, and we're happy to do episode 1. It was fun. Did you have fun, Shane?
I had fun.
I had fun.
I got me an Addams family, which I
Yeah.
wasn't into before.
It's not only are we trying to give information to help everyone else out there, but it is also going to help us out in our own lives, in our own theater
Oh,
experiences.
for sure.
And it's going to be great. We're going to build up our own bank of audition songs. And we're just going to get every role.
Yeah.
We're never going to lose out on a role again, right, Shane?
That's the type of people want to listen to. For sure.
The
Stuck
people
up
who-
and annoying.
Power hungry. No, we're here to inform the audience.
Yeah.
And, make people feel a little more comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Doing
Auditioning
stuff.
is extremely scary, but if we can help you find songs, get one of those things off your list, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So stay tuned to future shows and episodes. And for different musicals, if you have any question, comments, concerns, we may put some sort of way to contact us.
We'll figure that out.
Probably not, because there's going to be like 3 people that listen to
that's
this.
true. Yeah.
It's going to be our moms.
Yeah. And Maya, probably.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so thanks for listening. Tune in next time.
Woo. Bye.
We did it.
We did it.
Woo.
Guys,
What's up?
you know those
Yeah.
the lap
What?
these. They have heart-shaped ones. Limited edition for Valentine's.
Stop.
Yeah, Taylor Swift.
Thanks everyone on stream. Thank you, Amit. Thanks, Ali. Jay commented, I'll give you $1 to be a sponsor. We'll just put Jay's name.
We're just going to put everyone as a sponsor.
Just on the, like in the news with the scrolling list of names on the bottom. We'll just do that for all of our friends. Thanks all.